just talked about software, you talked about a lot of data, and these days we are talking a lot about artificial intelligence and how AI is helping us with respect to making our life easy. You just talked about scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. So, can you tell a little bit what exactly is the difference between all these three?
There is a mechanism to calculate water positivity, like in particular 1 year you have to get the data from the rain.
And if we talk about the misuse of AI in context of ESG, anything which you have seen in industry, how it is happening, wherein people are not using it for the right purpose, but somehow misusing it to give the data or the information which can suit them. Hi, friends. I welcome you on the 45th episode of Unfiltered Conversation. We started this series with the objective of inviting the people from different spheres of life and trying to understand that what they are doing in that and what we can learn from that. So today we have a very interesting guest. His name is Mr. Avinash Dhalia. He is basically an industrial engineer and who has done masters in environmental science. He has got more than 25 years of experience and presently he's based in Australia and he's working with respect to sustainability and certain thing with respect to that. Now, when we talk about sustainability and when we see the recent times, especially in the rainy season, we see that there are so many cloud burster, there are so many other things are happening, and so many people are losing life, especially if we see in north part of India or maybe globally in different parts. And one of the key reason when everyone is saying is that they all talk about the climate change. We talk about that it is too much heat. Sometimes we say that it is too much cold, and one common reason that we all are talking about is climate change. So Avinash is going to talk more with respect to that because he's an expert in that. Hi Avinash, how are you doing?
Namaste to everyone. I'm good, and thank you very much for inviting me.
So Avinash, these days we are talking a lot with respect to sustainability. There are different words that we are using like ESG, environment, social and governance. So I'd like to understand first what exactly is this, and then later on we'll talk about the role of AI, artificial intelligence, in relation to ESG.
Sure. First, I want to start with the ESG. E stands for environment, S stands for social, G stands for governance. So it's sustainability is a big umbrella, and ESG is derived from the sustainability. So ESG, you can say that is like a baby of sustainability, which is specified, and it has some defined indicators, which is covering specifically for the environment. If we talk about the environment, it is covering energy, it is covering the environmental regulation requirement, and social part is covering the gender diversity and training part and other HR analytics, diversity tracking, etc. In the governance section, it is covering mainly for the risk mapping and some examples related to the governance for disclosure uh, from the senior management point of view. So basically, I will drive this activity from the beginning. Like I want to explain from the beginning how the things are connected. Like if
Hmm.
I start from the 10,000 years ago, when there was ancient modern ESG system already working in India and China. Like 10,000 years ago, there was agriculture age, and people used to have a bartender system, and people used to work for some auspicious work or prosperity work to attract the profitability. So I think you heard about the Shubh Labh in India, which is commonly used for the small businesses. You have seen in the movies as well that people used to put the Shubh and Labh. So the meaning for explaining this kind of Shubh Labh was related to prosperity, like auspiciousness, attract the profitability. So when the industrial age was there just 200 years ago, so first concern was raised from the environmentalists that the climate change is happening, some lot of pollutions are there, and a lot of resources are using, and depletion is happening. So in the that age, there was a buzzword for the environment. So in 1970s to 80, there was a growing awareness about the sustainability. So in 1988, IPCC came into the picture to study the climate change. IPCC is the intergovernment panel for the climate change. And then in 2000, Millennium Development Goals were introduced to all the industries and in the countries, so that they can actively participate and mitigate the use of waste or mitigate the resources and protect the environment. Then in 2015, Paris Agreement came into the picture. That was the turning point for the climate responsibility. Now, if you talk about the sustainability, I from my side, sustainability is a like a formula which sustainability is equal to value multiplied by profitability. If you are focusing on profitability, you can't create value. So for creating value, you have to go for the disclosure of your sustainability, and ESG is a part of the sustainability tribe. So I believe that profitability is one thing in the financial term, and for the
Mhm.
sustainability you have to focus on value creation. So that is the one thing, and second thing is your financial disclosure along with the environmental footprint. So ESG indicator, you can say, is the new currency of trust. So this is a basic understanding from my point of view for the ESG.
Now, when we talk about ESG and when we are using it in context of sustainability, why it is so much important in the present time? Why it is say that everyone is talking about it? Even if we say in context of India, then we are talking about BRSR, wherein all the top 500 companies they have to disclose that what are they doing with respect to that, and there are similar programs in different parts of the world. So why ESG has become so important at this particular time?
Because there is I can say, from the industrial revolution point of view, or the World War One and Two. So people were, more into focus on financial disclosure. They were not interested in environmental impact. When IPCC came into the picture, so they they have prepared some kind of checklist and framework that the top listed companies which are consuming more energy and more waste and more resources, they have to actively participate to mitigate the impact on environment. And then you will be get funded, like it can be a green funding, it can be a support from the investor. So my experience from the financial disclosure to the ESG disclosure says that you have to focus on the sustainability parameters more compared to the financial parameter. So they have given the checklist, and they have provided the mandatory requirement that these are the your mandatory requirement, and then you have to disclose. If you are not disclosing, then there is no consideration in the listed companies, top 500 or top 1000. So that's why they are giving that kind of attraction, so that they can participate at the international level. Or you can say, if any company is doing fantastic work in sustainability, they can participate in the Bloomberg as well, which is like if your company is listed in the Bloomberg, is like a Nobel Prize for them. So that's how importance has been created in the market.
Now, when we talk with respect to ESG, environment, social, and governance, any key indicator from environment, social, or governance which is impacting the most at the moment globally?
if you talk about the environment point of view, I will consider energy is, energy and the waste, two indicators, very, very important for every industry, because, when the waste is, produced from the manufacturing, or when the waste is produced in their commercial section, so it is indicating that, you have to, you have to, disclose your energy and your waste, or you have to make a target to mitigate as soon as possible. You have to make it, priority.
Hmm. And
And
when, yeah,
in
when we talk about social
and
and governance, anything?
in social, I believe training is, very, very important part, because, when we consider the hierarchy of the any business, we consider the gender diversity, we consider the HR analytics. So if the training is, considered with the what do you call, on the high importance, as per the ISO 10015 standard. So it has to be designed to consider the impact of the business.
Hmm.
In G part, there is called a materiality. We have to use the materiality for identifying the material issues. In the material issues, you have to see what are the most important and critical parameters for their business. So generally, it is handled with the ERM department, enterprise risk management. What they do, they, do the survey within the organization, and they also get the help from the stakeholders, from the suppliers as well. So they calculate, or they identify the important and critical parameters for the organization, and then they have to make a priority, like, in the materiality graph, if there is X and Y graph, so they categorize in the, green section. If I'm making a three arc, in the green section, which are, not so critical, not so, important, and the orange part, like a semi-critical and, semi-important, and the red part is highly critical and highly important. So when, some indicators, they are in the red part or in the orange part, so senior management and the directors are, actively working for making an action plan to mitigate that kind of critical to their business. It can be a cyber security, it can be a fraud, it can be any kind of, a business threat that can be, in future their business can be hampered. So this E and S and G part, these indicators, material issues, training, and energy and waste are very, very critical parts from the business point of view.
Now, when we talk about ESG, when we talk about all these data, one thing which comes immediately is that there's a lot of information, a lot of data, and there's always a question with respect to the accuracy of data. So, how much is
Yeah.
it is easy and difficult for an organization when they are working on ESG, that the data collection and then analysis of the data and making a conclusion, how much challenging it is, and how the organizations are making sure that whatever data is there, it is authentic and that can be trusted.
That's a very great question, because, data collection is a big challenge for any, sustainability coordinator, sustainability manager, head of the sustainability, because, people who is, working on the data. For example, a person who is, monitoring the energy, or person who is monitoring the impact of training. So he or she has to collect the information, and and there should be, perfect interpretation of that data in a modem which is covering GRI standard, or if they have that, their kind of software which is designed as per the GRI framework, that will be fantastic. But, data collection and the format they have to prepare is very critical task. the indicators they have chosen for interpreting the data and doing the further analysis is most challenging task. Because when we were also working for the clients and some of the company in my past experience, just like real time example, so we were also facing data collection problem. So people used to sometime hide the data, sometime middle management or senior management were not happy to disclose the particular data which can give negative impact in the market, because it is directly related to your disclosure. So
Yeah.
when a disclosure is going to in public, so they are very much concerned that this data should be represented in open market or not, because it can impact their share value as well. So uh, first of all, data preparation and their format, and then interpretation of data analysis and decision making from the middle management and senior management is very very critical task. you know that's my personal experience, and it can be everyone's experience. Nowadays a lot of software are available, but software is one thing. When we are going like a third party or any data validation agency going on the site and checking the data, they also check what kind of format they have used. For example, I'm using a fossil fuel, diesel. So my what is my input and output, and what was my in the morning time, what was my opening balance and what was my closing balance. So that should 100% match, and then it should be accurately you know loaded in the SAP or ERP or their software. So that's a
Mhm.
very very challenging task. When we are going on the site, we will check the data, whatever the logbook or whatever the format they have used, it is matching to the system or not. And who is the approving authority? Because there are layers from utility department or maintenance department, then to the managers, senior managers. They give the approval. That data is validated from the senior person and it's approved from the senior management as well. Then it is available for disclose, because they
Mm.
have to calculate the emission from their production or particular product. Per product, how much emission has been produced, and how they are going to reduce in future. They will prepare the trajectory, they will prepare some kind of action plan to minimize the impact of carbon emission.
Now, you just talked about software, you talked about a lot of data, and these days we are talking a lot about artificial intelligence and how AI is helping us with respect to making our life easy. Even though majority of the cases we are more talking about the negative aspect rather than talking about that how it can help the mankind, how it can make our life easy. So when we are talking
True.
about ESG, when we are talking about data, so what is the role of AI these days in context of data collection, data analysis? Can you tell a little bit more about that?
That's true. AI is, from my point of view, very good tool, because from last 2 years it has been penetrated in the market so much fast. If you compare to the television, internet, or the landline phone, it took around 10 to 15 years. So AI immediately entered into the market, and it is showing their impact. And some of the people are not ready to understand what kind of action we have to take immediately. And that's why
Mhm.
some people are sometimes nervous. But it is an opportunity, because something is coming for helping you guys. So it has the ability to solve the complex problem, and it has data heavy ESG challenges. you know how to solve a complex problem, and how to solve, like you have multiple thousands of training, thousands of hours of training, and thousands of data is there, and you have to analyze the particular training, or you have to analyze the energy. So AI helps in that complex problem or complex situation, and it also helps in the predictive maintenance. So
Mhm.
I have used AI in, especially for the energy and especially for the predictive maintenance in some cases. So it helped me a lot because I was doing a lot of exercise and doing a lot of analysis thoroughly. It took lots of hours, so it reduced my hours and it given me fantastic recommendation and fantastic solutions. That was great help. So people who are considering it's a challenge, no, it's not a challenge, it's like a helping tool for you guys. So how you are using and what kind of prompt you are giving and what kind of data you have seen that you have collected the data and you have thoroughly studied the data is accurate, there is no problem, then you will get the accurate solution.
So you talked about predictive maintenance, you talked about data. So can you give any real life experience of yours wherein with the help of AI you could collect the data quickly, the data was authentic, and it helped you to take the decision more quickly?
Right. I have done one energy audit in a bakery. So I got the access to get the data, the entire energy consumption plus rooftop solar consumption, whatever they were producing renewable energy, and the heat dissipation. We have calculated the with the IR camera what kind of heat dissipated is there. So we want to calculate how much energy we are losing from those bakeries or bakers. So I have calculated for last 3 years data, and then I did thorough analysis with the help of AI that just tell me that how much I am losing energy in my baker section. So I was just shocked, surprised that generally from my past experience, generally it takes 2 to 3 days to analyze the particular losses and a lot of calculation, a lot of formulas you have to put. But it took only 1 minute to do the entire exercise, and in 1 minute, it prepared a smart, summary sheet that this is the actual loss you are getting, and these are the recommendation to mitigate the loss. That was the fantastic experience I have in one of the bakery client.
And if we talk about the misuse of AI in context of ESG, anything which you have seen in industry, how it is happening, wherein people are not using it for the right purpose, but somehow misusing it to give the data or the information which can suit them.
Yeah, in case of the emissions calculations, like if we are talking about the scope one, scope two, scope three emissions. So, in case of scope three, people have no in-depth experience or knowledge, you can say, about the scope 3. So people are or industries are not ready for the scope 3. In scope 3 there are a lot of chances to digress the information and wrong interpretation of the waste or the process, you know in terms of disclosure they have to give to the auditing party. So
Mhm.
I have that kind of bad experience when we are calculating scope 3 emission. So what we have done, we have minimized the indicator. In the GHG protocol there are massive like 15 indicators. So we have minimized the indicator so that we will make sure the selected indicator like 3 or 4 indicators are proven one. There is no like kind of chances of wrong interpretation or chances of wrong data sheet preparation. So that's my personal experience in the scope 3. And some industries do in case of water, because if you look at the lot of industry, they are away from the city, they are in the remote area or the regional area. So they consume a lot of water. Every day they are consuming thousands of kiloliter, I don't know, hundreds of kiloliter. But
Mhm.
when there is like they have to report their consumption, but it is not accurate. And if you talk about the pollution control, they are also more concerned that the industries, they have installed the rainwater harvesting. They claim that we are water positive, but actually water is going down and down every year. So
Mhm.
how, it is happening, and how they are claiming that we become the water positive, we become the water neutral with the help of calculation of the rain in their catchment area, and the mechanism they have used, so that they will put pure water in the ground. So they are claiming that they are charging the water, but ultimately water is going down. So that kind
Mhm.
of thing is not the true reporting. No, true reporting is very very tough task, I believe.
So you just talked about scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. So can you tell a little bit what exactly is the difference between all these three?
Yeah, scope 2, and scope 1, they are very closely connected to each other. Scope 2 is the energy we are using from the coals, from third party, like the energy we are getting from outside.
Mm-hmm.
So like we have energy meter which is connected particular with a particular office or industry. So they are getting the energy from them. It mostly 80 to 85% that is coming from the fossil fuel. It can be a coal, it can be any kind of fuel generation. So we calculate separately for the fossil fuel or coal based uh, energy separately, and the renewable energy separately. For example, if we are getting 15% of renewable energy, so we calculate both, like 50% is coming from the renewable part and 85% coming from the non-renewable part. That is part of scope 2. In scope 1, you have the set boundary, you have all kind of fossil fuel you are using in your premises for operation or production process, whatever the thing you are using, and the waste you have produced, internal processes. So that's a part of scope 1.
Mm-hmm.
So, and similarly scope 3 is like you are not considering everything in the boundary. You are considering your supplier point of view and your dispatch point of view. So if you consider like something is coming from your supplier, and they are also consuming fossil fuel to deliver your products or parts to your premises. So whatever the fuel they have consumed, right? So that will be the part of scope 3. And similarly, you are dispatching to warehouses, that is also part of the scope 3 emission.
You also used a very interesting word, water positive. So
These are
can you
the
tell a little about that? What exactly is the meaning of water positive?
uh, there is a mechanism to calculate water positivity, like in particular 1 year you have to get the data from the rain uh, forecasting or weather department, that how much rain is going there in the last 1 year. So in your premises how much rain was there, and according to that rain you have to calculate what is your constructed building, what is your green area, and what is your total unused area. So you will majorly consider the constructed and the green area, in which
Mm-hmm.
will calculate your water positivity or water neutrality, whatever. So we do the kind of geographical calculation, that this is per square meter or square kilometer area I'm using for the green part, and according to the formula, green part is multiplied by something factor is there, that this will be penetrated to the ground. The green part will automatically charge the groundwater, and from the constructed building it will be collected, and it will go to their wells or in their storage, or some people use the ponds. From the pond they consider that they are charging the groundwater which is connected with the ground wells. So these are the mechanism that how much you are extracting and how much you are getting from the rain. In some areas there is very less rain, so it will be very difficult to manage or balance the what they are getting from the rain and how much you are charging and how much you are extracting for their operational purpose. So when you balance these two things, like you are less extracting and more charging, then you will become the water positive, and you are almost near about the same numbers, then you will be considered as the water neutral. That's the the basic calculation.
Wonderful. So before we close, in future, if we talk about what will be the use of AI which can be done in context of ESG, what do you see in
uh,
future?
yeah, if we use AI for materiality, like they can use for the understanding their business challenges. And similarly, if we can use for the training part with the reference of ISO 10015, which has the framework for the training quality management, and you have to declare the subject matter expert, in which he will take the responsibility that these uh, challenging indicators for their business, and the subject matter expert will cover these areas, or they can create AGI, artificial general intelligence, which will create a kind of uh, uh, ready to give the kind of, you can say, a robotic, like I am human, so you will see a artificial man who is giving you the perfect training and giving you the perfect information about how is the critical indicator for your business and how you will mitigate that impact, and which will help for consistently progress of your organization. So these two indicators, definitely, very, very important for AI and AGI conversion. And third one is energy consumption and efficiency improvement and emission calculation and waste and water management. And last one will be the circular economy practice. So these indicators will be very, very helpful with the help of AI. And AGI is also coming. That will be fantastic for the senior management and the training section. That will be kind of revolutionary for the businesses. That will help a lot for all the industry. So as soon as you are getting to understanding the prompt, what prompt you needed and what kind of AGI you have to develop, that will help for the particular industry to grow faster, because generally industry takes 5 to 6 years to progress in the fast pace. You will see the progress in 6 months.
Wonderful, Avinash. I think we discussed many things in such a short time. We talked about ESG, the importance of ESG. We talked about artificial intelligence, how artificial intelligence is supporting the different calculations, then about scope 1, scope 2, scope 3, then water neutrality, and then how in future AI can support that different calculations. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for spending your valuable time. And I'm sure that everyone who is watching this must be getting benefit from that. Thank you, Avinash.
Yeah, thank you very much. In the end, I will say I will pray to everyone's progress and good health. And thanks for watching me.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.